Hey, everybody. Wanted to go live and just explain a new e-workbook that we just made live. So this is a long time coming kind of thing because it's just kind of been sitting there waiting to happen. But we had requests, so it went ahead and we finished it, got it live. So anyway, um, so today kids can go and get the lyric writing guide at Seven Sisters Homeschool. So for your musical kids, all of your kids aren't going to need this or want this. This is an add-on. This is to develop an interest. But we have a 5-week lyric writing guide. Like, what are the basics for our young musicians and songwriters who want to have the basic skills, the introductory skills for making lyrics. So lyrics are a special kind of poetry, and so you want a little bit of extra skills to be able to do that. So let me tell you the story of how this came about. So when my youngest was in high school, he was born a musician. Like this young fella, he loved music. He was singing, he was playing guitar, he was doing all these things. And in high school, he wanted to start writing lyrics. So he's composing music, he wants to write lyrics, but he wants to have some tools for doing that. So he went to his big brother, who is a musician by fun. So his oldest brother, who is Dr. Micah Tillman, who wrote, by the way, Philosophy in Four Questions and co-wrote with me the History and Philosophy of the Western World. He's a PhD philosopher, but through his college years, he also double majored in music and played second flute, I think, in the college orchestra. Also, as most young people do, in a rock band that played the local coffee houses and went on tour a couple of times and played like some of the Jesus festivals. So they got around in their days. So my youngest went to then his big brother and says, "Can you make me a curriculum so that I can study lyric writing?" So he didn't want to kill himself doing it, but he really wanted to know the basics of the skills. So Micah went about doing a beautiful, in-depth lyric writing curriculum for his young brother. So that's been sitting there waiting for a while for us to do anything with. But the youngest really enjoyed it and felt empowered by it and all. Anyway, so then we've had a couple of co-ops in various places ask us for a short writing curriculum. So rather than a one semester kind of in-depth thing, a short 5-week writing curriculum because their teens were asking for the basics. And so we go, so let's just adapt this for a more co-op-y format. So what we have then is a lyric writing guide. It's 5 weeks long, and just like Seven Sisters guides are always set up, it's 4 days a week of activity. So there's a day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 for each of the 5 weeks. So that way they're not killing themselves. They're fairly short lessons, and they're introductory. So teens should be able to jump in there, especially if they have some introductory knowledge to poetry writing. So, it's easiest if you've been through like the Seven Sisters poetry writing guides, which are not killer guides. We want teens to like writing poetry, but just some basics so that they feel comfortable. So, and then they then go week by week and learn different skills. So let me take you to the guide. I'm going to read a couple of things to you. So, all right. So to understand, for those of us who aren't musicians, so I love music, but I am not a musician. Was not a gift. I don't know where my kids came up with it. I guess their dad. So anyway, this is from the workbook, and this is my oldest son Micah's writing, so I'm quoting him. All right, lyrics, as you may already know, are words of a song. Most of the time, lyrics are a kind of poetry that fits the melody of the musical part of the song. However, lyrics are a different kind of poetry that is not, then that's attached to music. So lyrics are one kind of poetry. Regular poetry isn't attached to music, so it has fewer rules in a way. All right, because of the music, lyrics have to follow not just rhythms and rhymes like non musical poetry. Lyrics must also follow the rhythm and the melody of the music. So there's two influences on lyric writing: the rules of poetic rhythm and rhyme, and the sound of the rhythm and the melody of the music. So lyric writing takes poetry skills and brings it a little more complex so that it's actually matching music. The e-guide talks about the different functions of lyrics. So like lyrics can have a social function, like bringing people together, when you sing worship songs or hymns at church, or patriotic songs at on the 4th of July or baseball games. They can be anthem songs that you sing, at a special event. Or it can teach concepts like, the States and Capitals song. So when I was a baby Christian, one of the most favorite things I had was learning scripture in songs, so little scripture songs. And so there's a lot of different like social kinds of meanings of lyrics. Also, lyrics can tell stories. You remember ballads. There's long ones, old folk tales like Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley, or for those of you guys in my generation, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot. Little short songs like Oh My Darling Clementine. So there's storytelling that we do, and sometimes there are lyrics that just are lyrics because a song needs some sounds to go with the music itself, and so sometimes they don't mean a whole lot, and that's okay too. So that there's all different flavors of lyrics. So students will learn some of this extra terminology that is related to music. They're going to learn about downbeat and measures. They're going to learn to match the words to rhythms and rhyme patterns that meet the rhythms. So also, how to tie it all together and to use really good words. So as Micah says, one of the things that separates normal poets from great poets is the recognition that every part of a line is an opportunity for artistry. And so to write really good lyrics, you want to do really good word usage. So anyway, the guide takes teens through that. So they've got 5 lessons, 5 weeks broken down into 4 lessons each week. Week 1 is what are lyrics? Week 2 is the rhythm of lyrics. Week 3 is how rhymes and words work in lyrics. Week 4 is fitting lyrics to melodies and vice versa. Week 5 is a project, write your own lyrics. So through the whole process, they've been writing short, kind of lighthearted. Like this is not heavy duty stuff. Lighthearted, we want our teens to like what they're doing. But at the end, they're going to write their own lyrics, and they will be ready to, attach those to a song. Have fun. Like, it's just empowering. The lessons are meant to be short, so they're not spending like 2 hours on this. They will spend as much time as they feel inspired and interested. So they might spend 20 minutes or an hour for each of the daily lessons. I doubt it would be an hour. So, but it's meant to be fun. So 5 weeks, 4 lessons a day, bringing young people to lyric writing so that they can match their poetry to music in the style that really does rhymes and rhythms together and word usage in a really fun way. And guess how much it costs? It's $5.99. Like, we Seven Sisters, we are not trying to become millionaires here. So anyway, if you've got a young musician in the family, download this and get it to them because they will have fun with it and have some extra tools. They can also, for teens who are working on leveling up, so they're looking for an honors level kind of credit for their transcript. This can be part of their leveling up process. So adding extra hours, extra work to their studies for their either their fine arts music credit or for their English language arts, the writing component for that. Okay, so if you've got any questions, throw them in the comments here or send me a question at Vicki@sevensistershomeschool.com. So it's VICKI. And I just really appreciate all you guys. Have fun with this. I hope some musical teens really get a kick out of this curriculum. All right, we will talk to you guys later.